What's going on, Shady people? ShadyPenguinn here. Welcome back to the 9th day of Talk to May. I can't believe it. This is technically 10 videos in a row on this sort of series because we did start, I believe I announced Talk to May the day before. I'm going to count that. I'm going to count that as a win. So it's 10 days in a row, which is really, really exciting. Thank you so much for coming through every single day. Today, we're going to be answering a question from Johnny. I don't want to butcher your last name. Spow. That's definitely not how you pronounce it. But Johnny, thank you so much for the comment and a like in the video. I really appreciate that. And today we're going to be talking about high school, it seems. I'm going to go ahead and read the comment. Love this series, Shady. I've been a big fan of yours since like 2014. A topic I recommend is, I am going into my first year of high school this year, and I was wondering what tips could you give to me or anyone starting high school? I'm really nervous, but I won't be starting the year with a lot of friends since I won't be going to the same school as most of my friends. So I was wondering, what tips would you give to me as I'm going to be a high school freshman? Also, what tips would you give me on making new friends? I'm really quite shy, and I don't see myself going out right away to start making new friends. Crazy thing is I started to watch you when I was about 10 in elementary school, and now I'm 14, almost 15 going to high school. You've made a big impact on my life, helped me laugh when times were hard. Thank you for everything, and remember, keep it shady. Thank you so much for those kind words at the end. I really do appreciate that. So going into high school is definitely super intimidating, 100%. I have been at a high school for 9 years now. I graduated in 2009, so I might seem like an old fart to some of you guys, but that's really, once you get to my age, you realize it's really not that much older. I can still remember pretty much everything in high school. It's not like I'm 45, 50 years old talking about it. So I can kind of understand the pressure, especially because I touched on it a little bit, but I actually went to a private school from kindergarten through 10th grade. And my first year was 11th grade going into a brand new school where I had to make all new friends and meet all new people. And even the structure of just classes were so different. I had 13 kids in my class and it was the same 13 kids every single period. For the most part, for like 7 out of the 8 periods or 7 out of the 9 periods, whatever it is. And then in high school, obviously, you share a class. Maybe if you're lucky, you'll share the same class, or you'll have the same person in your class twice throughout the day. I had one friend like that I had made in high school, Mikey G. He was basically my only friend that I got pretty close to. Went over his house, hung out. He was a drummer. I played guitar, bass, so we got to hang out in that regard. And yeah, it is tough. I'm not gonna lie and pretend like it's not, and I don't want to downplay it. I do have to say this though. The biggest piece of advice I can give you when it comes to high school is understand that it's just a small part of your life. It is very important. It is 100% important. I know how big the things seem when you're in it, but I wish I could go back and not take everything so serious. I'm not talking about grades. I'm talking about like friendships and relationships. Like, I wish I wasn't so on my guard because I went to a private school from kindergarten to 10th grade and then went to a public school. 11th grade, I really didn't talk to many people. Kind of like how you're saying you're shy and quiet. I took that all the way to the extreme. Obviously I had, I forgot what science class was. I think it was chemistry. I had chemistry, so I had labs. So I was kind of forced to talk to people there, and we were fine. Like, we were friends and whatever, but nothing like serious. I just wish I would have been more involved. I think it would be my biggest tip is get involved in your high school. If your high school offers clubs or after school programs or sports or whatever you're into, or maybe they'll let you make a club based on one of your interests, I highly advise giving that a shot, because I think there was a lot of missed opportunity for me to just experience more in high school because I was just so bitter about my old school closing down. So obviously, going to a brand new school, meeting a whole bunch of people, don't feel like you have to put your whole self on display day one, and don't feel like you have to hide. It's obviously, it's going to take a little time, but be comfortable with who you are and just be that person. That's like the next biggest piece of advice I can give you when you're going to high school is be who you are. Like, don't try to chameleon, because I used to do this a lot. Don't try to chameleon to fit in with people. I know it's tempting, especially when you want friends. If you're looking to make friends in high school, it's tempting to just chameleon. But at the end of the day, if you change who you are to be around other people, you'll end up like not really even enjoying being around those people anyway. So it's kind of a lose-lose in that regard. I 100% would say you have to stick true to yourself. You don't have to put all your hobbies out on display. Like, I'm not saying that go to the lunchroom with your Yu-Gi-Oh deck and ask everyone a duel. Like, I'm not saying to do that, but I'm saying when the time comes up in conversation after making new friends in class for about a month or whatever, and they ask, hey, what do? You can let them know what you do. And if they don't do the same thing as you, that's totally fine. I had friends that had completely different interests, but it is easiest to find people with the same interests as you. And the way you can do that, like I said, extracurriculars, clubs, stuff like that, is definitely the best way to go about it. Some of your classes will be geared towards provoking discussion between you guys. At least it was in my school. Just like by having lab and giving you lab partners and stuff, it automatically gives you downtime to kind of build friendships or relationships at the very least and get to know someone else in a different light. So as far as making new friends goes, that's the best thing I would say. I would say don't force it. And the best thing you could do is find clubs or activities or classes that really do interest you so that you can use that as a springboard to kind of, common interest is the easiest way to build friendships. 100%. It's not the only way, but it is definitely the easiest way. And talking about those things will come over naturally when you have lab partners, when you have this, when you have that, when you go to extracurriculars or clubs. That'll happen naturally. So don't stress too much about that. If you put in the effort and you go to look to make friends, you can make friends, but you don't. It's a tough line because you don't go and just say, hi, I'm looking for friends. You just go and see people that are doing similar things as you, whether it's a sport or a music activity or whatever, and then you do those things and it'll develop naturally as long as you don't guard yourself. You have to find that balance of like not guarding yourself, but not throwing everything you are out on a person the first day you meet them, because both of those things will more than likely prevent you from making those friendships that you're specifically looking for, Johnny. High school is, like I said, it's a big part of your life, but it seems so much bigger when you're in it, so much bigger. Like I said, I wish I would have taken myself a little less seriously and just kind of stuck to who I was as I did, but also felt comfortable enough to be myself around people and not really care what other people think. Just a little backstory. So in 11th grade, I really didn't talk to many people. I mean, I kept to myself as best I could. I just wanted to see my old friends from my old school, and that was it. But I did make one friend, Mikey G, and then ended up hanging out a lot with his girlfriend, and then one of her friends who ended up becoming one of my girlfriends in high school, actually my only other girlfriend that I've ever had. So I had that core, but then senior year, I loosened up a lot. I was like, I don't care anymore. It was senior year, so you kind of get what's called senioritis, where you stop caring about a lot of things and you just kind of try to make the best and make school as fun as it can be. So I spoke to a lot more people, and 12th grade was just so much better. Senior year was so much better than junior year because I was so much more just open, and I was so much more willing to go do things and not be so, I don't know, toe the line. I think like when it comes to grades and rules and everything, I always did that even in 12th grade. Like I cared about my grades. I always did. And I wasn't like a bad kid or anything, but just like going out of my way to, I don't know, do things that I normally wouldn't, whether it was extracurriculars or joining clubs or going to certain classes when I had, cause in senior year for me, I think I had 3 study halls, which study hall is basically a free period. So I was able to just go to other classes and kind of sit in there and whatever, or just go and hang out in like one of the less strict classes like wood shop. I remember going in there a lot because I had a couple friends in there. So we would just hang out and make stuff even though I wasn't in the class. I don't know why I didn't just sign up for the class, but I didn't. But I would just go in there because Mr. Hanley wouldn't care. But anyway, that's the biggest thing. I would say, if anything, if I could give you a detailed roadmap about how my 12th grade was, I would say just do that for all 4 years. Like getting good grades to me is very important. It always has been. But don't just understand the things that happen in high school. They're not as big as they seem. So feel free to kind of let loose. Even the friends you do make and the people you do meet, or the enemies that you do make, they're I don't know. I the only high school friends I really talk to still are the ones from my previous school that I went to 9th and 10th grade with. And then I have this one friend, Ryan, that I see every once in a while at GameStop, but we're not like super, super close. But I mean, he was one of my good friends in high school, but he was probably one of my closest. He probably was my closest friend in Longwood. And we're really not that close anymore. We'll catch up and we'll talk and stuff. And he's a great guy, but just life goes on and you'll see that. So it's very important to try to build those relationships while you're in the moment in high school. Of course, I don't want to diminish that. Try to make friends like you're saying you want to, but understand that if someone doesn't like you or a friendship doesn't go the way you want to, time is going to make that seem so insignificant. It's almost comforting, and it almost gives you the courage to just go out on limbs. Because the worst thing that happens is someone doesn't like you. It's like, all right, I'm not going to see you ever again. And like after 4 years, it's just not going to happen. So I use that as kind of just there's very little risk, but very high reward. If you do make a friend, someone that you really do end up connecting with and caring about, spending a lot of time with, that's very high reward for the risk of, well, I probably was never going to talk to you again anyway. If I never spoke to you, basically like this. Think about it like this. If I never spoke to you to try to be your friend, then I was never going to speak to you. And if I try to speak to you and then you never speak to me again, it's the same result. The only thing that can happen is a positive thing. The positive thing being you make a new friend. So that's even though you're shy and quiet, that's why I give you the advice specifically. Don't worry about going out right away to make friends. That's okay. Like I said, even in senior year, I didn't really start super opening up till like a month in. That's why I said a month specifically, because you got to let the teachers do their things and you feel out which students are like more like you, whether they really care about academics or they don't care about academics or they're in the middle of it, whatever it is. Like you're going to connect more with those students than you are others. So don't worry about rushing into it, but then you can kind of start trying to give yourself some courage, peel back the layers as time goes on, and maybe you'll make some friends. It is going to involve a little bit of talking for sure, to find people with common interests. But like I kind of talked about the other day, if you're quiet and you really don't know much to say, I highly advise getting that book, 92 Ways to Talk to Anyone, because you find that you can build friendships by doing very little talking most of the time. You can just be a really good listener and know what questions to probe and know how to comfort people. Social psychology is a really, really cool thing to study. If you have that offered in your high school at all somehow, take it 100%. I wish I would have taken that in high school 100%. But that's probably the best I can do with it. I really want you shady people to jump in the comments down below on this one for sure. Of course, leave topic for tomorrow, but jump in down below on your high school experience. Any tips you can give, any stories you have about making friends would be really, really helpful for Johnny. And once again, Johnny, thank you so much for leaving a comment and a like in the video. Really do appreciate the support. With that though, I'm going to get the hashtag out of here. Thank you so much for watching. Have yourselves a fantastic day. I will see you tomorrow for another episode of Talk to May, but above all else, keep it shady.